So the book that I chose is Who Sank the Boat by Pamela Allen. So I would use this book to show my students about buoyancy and, sinking and floating. So this is just a really fun book that kind of just goes through. It talks about this group of friends: the mouse, the pig, the sheep, the donkey, and the cow. They all live near the sea. And so they get this great idea to go and to get on the boat and go for a row in the bay. And so the question is asked, do you know who sank the boat? So, while readers is reading the book, they'll go through and they'll be like, oh, Cow got in the boat and Cow sank the boat, but Cow did not sink the boat. And then they'll go through and they'll say, hey, do you know who sank the boat? And then they'll go with the next group of readers, which is the donkey, the next group of friends, which is the donkey, and the readers that go through and say, well, no, donkey balanced their weight. So donkey and cow both got in this boat. So who sank the boat? And so they go through this quick, fun story, just trying to figure out who got in the boat and who sank the boat. Did the pig sink the boat? But it says, no, look at all three of them in that boat. I would go through with my students and talk about the different terms, like such as what does sink mean, what does float mean. I would go through and review with them um, the different items that we have in our classroom. I'll go back and I'll show you that in just a second. So after we go through the story, we'll read the story and then we get to the end and we'll see that. Let me show you that out of all of them, the mouse got in and the mouse sank the boat. So from here, this book would be for a kindergarten classroom. The content standards that I chose will be identifying the main topic, also obtain, evaluate, communicate information, describe objects and their physical attributes. And something's missing off of here because it had to sink and float. Oh, there it is. Plan on carry out, investigate objects based off whether they sink or float. And then we'll go through. I'll talk about the book, like I said, for here before reading activities. Before reading the book, I ask students if they know what it means for something to sink or float. We'll go over like dialogue and talk about it. We'll brainstorm. I'll write down different items that they think may sink or items that they think may float. Then we'll go through, we'll read the book. I mentioned our letter for the week, whatever the letters are. If it's letters L or F or S, C, U, there's words in the book that begin with that letter. And if I don't see any, I'll call that out too. Did you see any words that began with our letter for the week when we're reading the book? Remember, it makes the sound for you. Then for here, after the reading activity, I will go through after the story is completed. I ask students if they think it was a fiction or a nonfiction story. We'll use our clipboard and the graph paper that we have on the table with their little items that I have set up for them, and they'll conduct their own experiments. And this will be our introduction into our sink and float unit. I will also have the students jot down words in their writing journals, or they'll write write or draw what it means for something to sink or float. Everybody is somewhere different developmentally. So those who are able to write a sentence, I'll encourage them to write. Those who are unable to write, I'll encourage them to write and to draw what they think it means for an item to sink or for something to float. Then we'll go through and identify any words or terms that we did not know besides just sink and float. Create flashcards of those words. Go back and show them how we can add definitions and sentences usage to the back of those cards. And that is all. So thank you for taking a moment to look at my BDA book walk template. I really appreciate it. Um, Once again, I just want to say thank you. Thanks.